This is going to be like one of those imagination exercises, but I think we're going to have more fun with it. Uh, Hello there, heroes. I'm the Orange Ranger, and welcome to another Power Rangers Dino SuperCharge Hiatus video. As this video is posted, hordes of Ranger fans are preparing to converge upon Pasadena, California for the 5th Power Morphicon convention. For those of you new to this fandom, Power Morphicon is pretty much exactly what it sounds like, a fan convention held biennially dedicated exclusively to Power Rangers and its related shows. This year, the convention is being held from August 12th through 14th at the Pasadena Convention Center. Many great Ranger actors and fans will be in attendance. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be one of them. I don't hold this against the convention at all, but I'm kind of on the wrong side of the country. It would take a lot to get me to California. And don't get me wrong, I know that a lot of people will be attending the convention from further away than Georgia, but it's just something that's not in the budget for me right now. You may also notice that this isn't exactly the next video I said I was going to do. I said that I was going to be giving you guys another top 10 video. But while I really enjoy doing top 10 videos, and I know that you guys enjoy watching them, I don't like doing two of them in a row. So between wishing that I was attending Power Morphicon and wanting a topical video to do, I came up with the idea for this video with some help from viewer Matthew Ducker. Thanks, Matt! Have fun at Power Morphicon! You jerk. Kidding. Kidding, of course. Have a great time. This is going to be like one of those imagination exercises, but I think we're going to have more fun with it. This week, I'm going to pretend that I am attending the Power Morphicon convention. A panel schedule was recently released, and I'm going to go through that schedule today and let you guys know what panels I would attend. If you're fortunate enough to be attending this year, maybe this will help you make out a schedule. If, like me, you're not attending, maybe it'll help you get a better idea of how the convention handles panel times so you can be more prepared for when you do go. Oh, and for the record, things like special breakfasts and autograph sessions and etc., I'm not including those in this video. This video is just about the panels, which ones I would attend and when I would take breaks. Yes, when I would take breaks. I'm not attending every panel. So, let's start with Friday. 4 p.m. is a choice between Designing Power Rangers with Nonaka and Thunderstorm Emergency, a panel about Dino Thunder, Ninja Storm, and SPD. I'm choosing to take that extra hour to get settled in. Neither of those really scream interest at me, so I'd be fine taking a little more time to make sure I was ready to go. At 5 p.m., make it a Lightspeed Rescue, or Faces of Evil, the villains. I've always found the villains in Power Rangers really interesting, and I'm sorry, but as I've said before, to me Lightspeed was kind of a dry season. So, Faces of Evil would be my first panel. At 6 p.m., we have Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie, or Writing and Producing with Judd Lynn. So, I can spend an hour listening to perhaps the greatest Power Rangers writer the show has ever had talk about his craft, or an hour on a movie that, hey, I like, but was really kind of average. Boy, that's a tough choice. So, after we're done with Mr. Lin at 7 p.m., we've got Scripts, Props, and Costumes, Making Power Rangers, or Turbo Chase into Space. Honestly, I contemplated grabbing some dinner at this point. That's kind of weird to say, considering this is all imaginary. Anyway, how Power Rangers is made is just interesting enough to keep me there. At 8 p.m., we can Never Give Up with Wild Force, or talk about making Power Rangers fan films. I liked Wild Force, but fan films are a really interesting topic right now, especially with the whole Star Trek guidelines debate. I'd definitely be at this panel. But I might leave it a few minutes early in order to make sure I had a good seat for the next panel. At 9 p.m., one of my biggest YouTube inspirations, Bruno and Mia of MMPR Toys, will be holding a panel. This is their second panel, and knowing all of the passion that they put into their channel, I'm sure that their panel is going to be incredible. If you're going to the convention, I'd strongly recommend attending this panel. For the record, the other thing at 9 o'clock is a trivia contest, but seriously, just go support these two and their panel. That wraps up Friday, so moving on to Saturday. At 10 a.m., there's only one panel, Morphosis, dubbing Power Rangers for Latin America. And while I bet that would be pretty interesting, that early, I'm more than happy to just get another hour of sleep. Especially since it might get my mind nice and sharp to make the toughest choice I would have to make. 11 a.m. features two panels that make me want to clone myself, The Art of Voice Acting, and Saban Brands presents Power Rangers Dino SuperCharge. I'm not sure I've ever directly mentioned this, but I am an aspiring voice actor. I haven't done any projects yet, but without breaking show, let's just say you've heard some of my work already, and I am looking into how to go about starting the process. I attended a few panels about the subject at MomoCon, and I would love to hear what the people at Power Morphicon have to say. But boy oh boy, doesn't that SuperCharge panel just scream Ninja Steel cast reveal? More about this in a second, but this panel could actually be interesting in its own right. Interesting revelations about the show, questions that could use answering, etc. It's really hard to say where I'd actually go. In the end, I think career has to win out over being there in the moment. I mean, hey, whether you see the cast with your own two eyes or on the internet, eventually you'll see them, right? But I did say more on this in a second, because maybe I wouldn't be missing the reveal. The next hour, noon, there is a special presentation by Saban Brands and Bandai. There's no telling what this is. It could be the Ninja Storm cast reveal, it could be something about the movie, maybe the trailer. Bandai being there indicates that it involves toys in some way, but that really doesn't say much. By the way, it's up against a VR Troopers panel. Sorry, Troopers. Moving to the afternoon, 1 p.m., Super Mega Force Gets Legendary, or MMPR The Comics by Boom Studios. Gee whiz, one of the best comic runs that I've ever read, period, or Super Mega Force. My only question would be whether I could attend the Boom panel twice. After that, we hit what is, for me, a bit of a dry spell. 2 p.m. is Forever Red's, or Zyuranger Dino Fantasy. 3 p.m. is MMPR The Series, or Enter the Lost Galaxy. None of that really interests me as much as getting to sit down to a nice, relaxing lunch. 4 p.m. is actually sort of a tough choice, a Time Force panel versus a Ron Wasserman panel. But come on guys, you know my favorite season is Time Force, so I'm headed there. 5 p.m. is The Order, a crowd-funded film featuring a litany of former Power Rangers actors, versus a ticketed event called Inside the Studio. I don't know what the ticketed event actually is, but I do know I'd already be watching my budget. But, and I hope nobody takes this the wrong way, I'm not really interested in The Order. Don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure I'm going to review it, as I'm sure people will be interested in my take on it. It's just that I've always been more interested in a show than the actors on the show. There are single panels at 6 p.m., 10 Years of No Pink Spandex, and 7 p.m., Rocco Botte from Mega 64 Live. However, while I'm sure both of those are cool, I'm not terribly interested in either. If not for the Time Force panel, I might have just made this a night on the town. But Time Force, so I'd grab some dinner from 5 up through 8:30 and then hit the cosplay contest. On to Sunday, the last day of the event. Sadly, with the demands of travel into town and then out of town again, really you always tend to get about 1 day less of convention than the actual amount of days it takes. At 10 a.m., we've got Diversity in Spandex or Super Samurai Forever. That's a choice that begs for the third option, sleep, but I'd probably be up early anyway preparing to leave town, so I'll hit the Diversity panel. At 11 a.m., we've got Yell for Yellow Rangers and the Super Sentai Legacy. We have had some very interesting folks play Yellow Rangers, but something tells me that I should get a little Sentai in my Morphicon, so I'll hit the Legacy panel. Noon brings us 6 Rangers to the Rescue or Suits and Stunts. Hoping for some demonstrations, I'll hit the Stunt panel. At 1 p.m. is an interestingly named panel, Operation Pizza Apocalypse. But run it through your mind for a second. Operation, Overdrive, Pizza, Jungle Karma, Jungle Fury. Apocalypse, RPM. Jungle Fury and RPM are two of my favorites, but at that point it's time for lunch. But it's a quick lunch because at 2 p.m. we've got Stronger Than Before, Zeo to Turbo, or The Wild World of Amaritoku. The latter interests me pretty strongly. I would love to see the Amaritoku scene grow again. So, I'd head there. At 3:30, there's a Fujiyama Ichiban live show. But I'm afraid I'll already be watching Paul Schreier and Jason Narvi not throw any pies as Bulk and Skull bring down the con at 3 p.m. And at 4:30, it will sadly be time for the closing ceremonies. That would be a very full and worthwhile schedule, and I would have an incredible time. Like I said, I'm not going to be able to make it this year, but you know what? Stay with me. I recently discovered that the convention makes media passes available to YouTube hosts whose channels primarily cover Power Rangers and have been around for a year or more. Since the next Power Morphicon should be, if the current pattern holds, in 2018, I'll definitely be qualified by then. So, I'm going to make my best efforts to attend Power Morphicon number 6 in 2018. And you guys know if I go that I'll document the entire experience for you guys. So, like I said, stay with me. So, the hiatus videos are back on schedule, and right on time as it turns out, because next week, it's finally over! Yes, we have reached the end of another one of these blasted Nickelodeon hiatuses. Now, next week is the third week of the month, so normally it would be a 3 run, but being the last week of the hiatus, it's going to be a 3 cap. We're going to take a look at the first 8 episodes of Dino SuperCharge in order to get ready for the final 14. Holiday specials and all, you know. Thanks so much for watching the penultimate Dino SuperCharge hiatus video. You can like the video with the thumbs up button. You can subscribe with the red button. You can comment in the box down below the video. And you can donate to my channel with the blue button on the channel page. You can salute with whichever hand you like. I use the left hand because the right hand would go across the TV. And may the power protect you. As this video is posted, hordes of Ranger fans are preparing to converge upon... This year, the convention is being held from August 12th through 14th in the Pasadena Convention Center. Mini Great Ranger. I don't hold this against the convention at all, but I'm kinda on the wrong side of the country. Don't get me... farts. This year, the convention is being held from August 12th through 14th at the Pasadena Convention Center. It's all going terribly, terribly wrong. This year, the convention is being held from August 12th through 14th at the Pasadena Convention Center. I don't hold this against the convention at all, but I'm kind of on the wrong side of the country. It would take a lot to get me to Georgia to farts! This year, the convention is being held from August 12th through 14th at the Pasadena Convention Center. Wow. Holy balls. A panel schedule was recently released, so I'm going to go through that schedule now and let you go. Good old classic flash bloopers, because brain moves faster than you. But I think we're going to have more fun with it. I keep trying to jump to a panel schedule. I'm just talking about the panel times. And you guys know if I go, I'll document the entire experience for you, and I don't think that's how I wrote it. Since the next Power Morphicon should be, if the current pattern holds, in 2018, so we're going to be taking a look at the first 8 episodes. Farts, forgot the whole recap part. So, the hiatus videos are back on schedule, and just in time as it turns out, because next week, it's finally over. Yes, we have reached, So, the hiatus videos are back on schedule, and just in time as it turns out, because next week it is wow, that was in order to 3 cap, a 3 run to the